Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Paul Fu podcast. I always say that all my guests are fascinating and amazing people. I've got here my big bro. I call him my big bro. Dr. Kunle Adeyemi, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, my coach. It's good to catch up with you here on this podcast. I've always been, a follower of these great initiatives where you allow people to tell their story. And the secret of every successful man is in their stories. So I
Yes.
always, the secret of every successful man is in their story. So I pay rapt attention listening to people's stories, their failure, the wrong step, their principles, the success. And you don't have an idea of how your podcast have influenced my business and my life. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you, sir.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about you, your backstory, and what you currently are, because you hold a very interesting position in the real estate industry in Nigeria that affects it globally. Yeah.
All right, yeah. My name is Kunle Adeyemi. I'm privileged to be the Vice President of Real Estate Developer Association of Nigeria, and I also double as the Chairman for the Southwest Zone of the same association. Of course, I'm the CEO of Sterling Homes Limited. I'm passionate about providing affordable homes for Nigerians, both here in Nigeria and those in the diaspora. And we also play around the apex where we have the high income earner, right? We've been around. I've been around the industry for over 2 decades, and I've been running
Whoa.
Outfit for over 15 years. We have a presence both in Nigeria, in the United States of America, where we have lots of projects in US, and we also have amazing projects in Rwanda, Kigali to be precise, right, where we are doing luxury apartments in the name of Sterling Apartment. We also have in Tanzania, Zanzibar to be precise, where we're also doing some service apartment, popularly called short let in Nigeria, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Airbnb, yeah, right.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. First question I want to ask you, sir, what is it that you once believed about the real estate industry in Nigeria and in Africa that you no longer believe?
uh, at a point, the narrative was that the real estate was for selective few people.
Mm.
Yeah, it was, and another myth in real estate is that you need a lot of money to own your own home. Aside the fact that it's designed for selective few people, then you need billions to own your own home. There are so many myths around the real estate, but getting into the industry like about 2 decades ago, I was determined, number one, to demystify this myth
I like
because,
that.
yeah, that's number one, because home ownership is not a privilege, it's a right. Is a right. You remember it's one of our basic need of life. So that means that you need to have a billion. So it's not for selected few. Let me clarify that. It's for everyone. Everyone deserves to have a home because environment influences a lot of things, including our thinking. So that is why the chances for someone raised in an ideal environment like Ikoyi, like GRA, like Banana Island, like some part of Lekki, some part of the mainland. In an ideal society, the chances of someone raised in an ideal society, his chances to succeed is higher than someone raised in a slum because the
Yes.
environment influences their thinking. And as a man thinking is that, so is he. And your thought pattern proceeds to influence your words, which influence your action, form a habit, form a character, which eventually decide your destiny. So housing is basic, is essential, is a basic need, and it's for all. So the second myth that you need to have a billion to have that also was demystified.
Mm.
Because anyway, we're going to get into our conversation. I have a lot of things to share as related to that because that is the future, and we need to start making preparation for that. Thank you, Dr. Paul.
Very, very, very good. I think it was Winston Churchill that said that we create our environment, and in return, our environment creates us.
Absolutely. That's very profound. In fact, I've not come across that quote, but I've always been an advocate of an ideal environment.
Yeah.
Because you know what, before I need to tell you my background. I grew up in the backside of Mushin. So I grew up. As I speak now, I'm not proud to say I have more than 10 friends that are considered to be childhood friends. Because majority of my friends that grew up together, that have aspiration, dreams, vision, and desire, they were victim of environment. A number of them ended up being a street boy, ended up being an agbero in Nigeria, those touts, and a number of them ended up in jail. Some are dead today because the environment influences them. I was one of the selected few who are privileged to come out from that environment and have meaning to their life. So when I came out from that environment, I want to be part of people building an ideal environment that help people to think well. And that's one of the things that spurred me into doing real estate. It was born out of that passion, actually. A passion to see an environment ideal to raise family, where real value is being shared. Because a community is made up of family, and families are made up of individuals. So if you can change a man, you change a family, the way the family think, and you can change the culture, actually. And that is what we're here to do. We want to influence the culture.
This is so powerful. I'm happy that you're talking about your backstory, because people look at you today, projects in Tanzania, projects in America, projects in Kigali, Rwanda, projects all over Nigeria. And when they now see that, look, this guy grew up in Mushin. If he can change his life, my life can also change. But what sparked that change for you? Was it a book? Was it a conference? Was it a preacher? What happened?
Number one, a desire.
I'm just curious to know.
A desire to change the narrative. Right. A desire to change the narrative. I wasn't happy with my present situation, and without taking corresponding action to change it, my desire, my whatever will not change it. So I took deliberate steps, if I'm allowed to share. I took deliberate steps that caused that paradigm shift. Dr. Paul, dated back 2006, I haven't done a labaro. That's someone that help people to carry load from one place to another. As a graduate, I graduated with a very good grade, but I couldn't secure a job, a white-collar job. So I ended up, and I've been raised with a value not to beg or borrow. I think that's one of the things we need to deal with this generation. And I've been raised by a family that believe in the principle of process. So instead of begging, I went to the market to start offering service. That's my perspective about it. I didn't see it as any other thing but offering service in exchange for value. And I've been paid. I did that as a graduate for 8 months. Until sometime in 2006, I found myself in an organization to act as an agent to be selling for them. Number one, I discovered that I have a potential to convince people to embrace whatever I'm selling. So a number of us have not asked that question, what can I do? God has not made any mortal man without a seed planted in him. Now, it is our responsibility to nurture and water that seed, and that seed have a potential of becoming a forest. But in a lot of us, the seed die as a seed. Number one, we do not recognize the seed. We do not even appreciate the seed. For some of us, we despise the seed. But I know that I have that seed to convince people, which is an act of persuasion in marketing. So I started off with this organization as an agent, independent agent that only depend on 10% commission. But in 2006, I saw myself in one of the biggest bank industry in Nigeria, one of the biggest banks, to make a presentation to their staffs. And I had 3,000 sales in one day. 3,000 sales in one day. I sold 3,000 plots in one day. That estate is one of the biggest estates we have in Nigeria. I don't want to mention the brand. Now, that 3,000 sold plots in one day gave me 84 million naira in commission. As a matter of fact, when that 84 million naira in 2006 hit my account with Standard Trust Bank, STB in those days, the branch manager and the area manager invited me for a conversation. Because as at that time, before that major breakthrough, what I had in my account was less than 2,000 naira. And that was a paradigm shift. So 2006, 84 million naira in 2006 is a lot of money.
Wow.
So that was what caused the paradigm shift for me. And because I already had dream and aspiration of what I intend to do even before I made the money, it became easier for me to pursue my dream. So I started off my very first company. And that has metamorphosed to chains of different organizations today. And we're probably playing with some few billions. So
That's
those
okay.
I mean, to the guys out there, because I know we have a whole lot of people in this same condition, right? I need you to know that there is a seed on your inside. Recognize it, discover it, appreciate it. Don't despise the days of little beginning. I was once an ox. Don't despise it. Inside every seed, when nurtured, have the potential to become a forest. Because every seed has a tree, and on those trees are fruits, and in those fruits are seeds. So one seed is equivalent to a potential forest if nurtured and well cultivated.
Very good.
I'm excited about this conversation because I know there are a lot of people out there who probably presume some of us are born with a silver spoon. Humorously, sir, I was born with my mouth closed. No plastic spoon. No plastic spoon in my mouth. I was born with my mouth closed. Grace, wisdom, and time and season force it open. I know I have some spoon in my mouth, whether it's golden or diamond or platinum, I don't know. But I know I have spoon in my mouth right now. So please, out there, don't despise the days of little beginning. Start with what you have from where you are.
My God.
I choose not to beg. I could have done that. I mean, coach, I wasn't doing the alabaru far away from where I reside. Where I was doing the market I'm doing alabaru is still there. It's called Daleko Market. I live in Mushin. It's just about a few meters away from where I live. So my neighbors could see me carrying bag of rice for people. I didn't see it as anything, but I'm only on this. We have a generation that is proud, that are not ready to roll their sleeves and do the job. But for those who have recognized this seed on their inside, it's time to activate it. It doesn't take time. I mean, 2006 was just some few years ago.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, truly.
It doesn't take time.
Truly.
But today, now, the value chain of our business and the number of people that we have employed and the dependence on those employment, I mean, it's solving a major problem for Nigeria, not only Nigeria, because we are Rwanda and Tanzania, it's solving a problem for Africa. Don't forget, I mentioned to you that I love this podcast because you allow people to share their stories. And inside, I mean, the secret of every successful man is in their story.
Yeah. Yeah.
If everyone can pay attention, you can
Yeah.
get the principle.
Yeah.
And these principles are universal. They work in the United Kingdom, they work in the United States, they work in Nigeria, they work everywhere if only you can embrace it. But don't forget, of course, it has a process.
Wow. Wow. I just I'm just in awe just listening to your story right
I
now.
know, right?
I know I've known you for a long time.
I know.
I
And
just
I'm sure you must have presumed that this is one of those rich kids from Italy, right? Yeah, we don't look like
wow.
what we've been to, actually.
Yes, you don't look like the fire that you've been through.
Yeah, we don't look like it. Don't
Oh
look like
man,
it. Yeah,
this is so powerful. That's okay. You are in the industry, you started building your wealth off the back of the industry. We've got a couple of challenges in our industry. I say I because I mean I work in the industry a lot as
absolutely.
a trainer and also now as a investor, own a little portfolio here and there. What do you where do you see the real estate industry in Nigeria with your leadership position now and as a player, big player, but
Right.
yeah,
I'm going to start with the challenges, right? Then before we touch, because the industry is an emerging industry,
yeah,
right? You can't compare the real estate industry with what we have in the Western world or what we even have in the Asia.
mm-hmm.
Now, we have lots of challenges. And one of the major challenges we have as an industry is that the real estate industry in Nigeria is not yet regulated.
Mm-hmm.
And in an industry that is not regulated, we give room for sharp practices and practitioners. And not only that, because the industry is not regulated, it will rob the industry of realizing our full potential.
Spot on.
The real estate in Nigeria is a major economic driver
It is.
if we're harnessed. I mean, imagine the value chain we have in this industry, from supply to the demand. I mean, the value chain is enormous, from contractor to coach like you, sir. You are part of a value chain.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, you are playing a major role in the value chain we have in the real estate. From conception to conclusion, to completion of any project, the value chain is enormous. But until the industry is regulated, so one of the major challenges we have in real estate industry in Nigeria is that we've got to have this industry regulated.
That's right.
The financial world is regulated by the CBN.
And that's why our banks are doing well. Because
That's
the
why the
regulation
banks are doing well.
is stiff.
I mean, the stock exchange is regulated by Nigeria. Stock exchange. The capital market is being regulated by the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have an industry that is not regulated.
Spot on.
And it takes that regulation to infuse certain ethics that is globally accepted. Standard practice. And it's those standard practice that give confidence to investors. So you will agree with me that investors are only conscious of two things, among others. The security of their investment and the return on investment.
That's right. Spot on.
Any industry that cannot guarantee security of investment and return on investment cannot grow.
Yeah.
Because economy can be driven by direct foreign investment.
Yes.
And if foreign investors want to be sure that the industry where they are putting in their money is regulated, that means there's security for their investment. There are so many stories about off-plan projects in Nigeria, where lots of people have invested their life earnings. But because the industry is not regulated, a lot have got their finger burns.
That's right. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on.
And it's affecting Nigeria as a nation. So number one is that we need our industry to be regulated. And that's why Redan is championing that cause. I'm going to get that to that. Another problem I see is that as a Nigerian, we do not have, in the recent, a mortgage facility that can help people realize their dream of home ownership.
Yeah.
I'm talking now, look at the socioeconomic strata. The base of the pyramid is where we have the majority. Nigeria is projected to have over 100 and, what am I talking about? About 1 point something billion, according to UN, I think about 1.4 billion thereabout, in terms of population by 2050, which will make Nigeria the most populous country. The third most populous in the whole world. And here we have not made provision. Look at Lagos State as a nation. As a state rather. We have over 20 million purportedly living in Lagos. Because in Nigeria, we do not have accurate statistics.
Some even say more in Lagos.
They are estimated. Lagos is estimated to also have 3 million housing deficit at the moment, excluding slums. Now, imagine the population that is coming to Lagos in the next couple of years. There is no way we can solve the problem of housing, particularly appealing to the base of the pyramid where we have the majority. I'm talking about the low-income earners. There is no way we can arrest that menace of housing deficit if we don't start considering having a mortgage facility that works.
Yeah.
And there's no way mortgage can work unless there are accurate data that you can make decisions on. So, land, the bottleneck of getting land titling is another problem. In this age and time, every state in Nigeria must embrace technology.
Yeah.
The procedure of securing title for your property, it should be seamless. Sir, it doesn't take you some few hours to do your search about property, any property you want to buy in Rwanda. And you don't need any human being. Just go and impute your necessary coordinate and necessary information about the land, and you will see the status of the land. If the land is free from encumbrance, if it's free from government accusation, and it tells the status of the land. Not only that, they even give you the history of the land if there are litigation, so that this information will help you make informed decisions. But in Nigeria, very few states are still trying to digitalize land processing, and these are issues. So it makes titling difficult, to secure titling difficult. Imagine you've gone to borrow money from bank, financial institution in Nigeria, at some ridiculous interest rate.
Yeah.
And it's taking you forever to get title on the property that you have borrowed. And so all of these things are fundamental that we need to deal with as a nation. The mortgage facility, regulating the industry. Then also very important, I need to mention this. Sir, in Nigeria, 80% of construction materials are imported. So when you have a house standing, sometimes it could be 100%, sir. But nothing less than 80% of construction material used to build houses in Nigeria are imported. So that makes houses so expensive because of import duties, exchange rates, and all of that.
Yes, because there's this video going on of some people saying their Lagos houses are overpriced. So now we get it. Yeah.
Because 80% of the material used are imported. So we need to start paying attention to local content. You understand what we need to start paying attention to local content. How can we start using our local content to build a house? And that has to do with appealing to the consumer's behavior. You agree with me here in Africa, sir, that one of the major challenge one of the major challenge, if you are trying to change what people are used to, is consumer behavior can be very difficult to influence. We are used to the bricks, mortar, and all of that in Nigeria. But there are other construction methodology that are cheaper, that are faster, as a matter of fact, that are stronger.
Yeah.
And we need to embrace that so that it can reduce the amount that is required to build a house. We need to start looking at how we can promote our local content for construction materials.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on importation. And every change in foreign, exchange, it affects us.
Seriously.
If you look at it, a typical house in Nigeria, the tiles are imported. Not until recently, when we start having local tiles
manufacturers. Yes. I know of one.
The acceptance is still not what we expect.
Yeah.
You import virtually everything. So these, among others, are the challenges we have. But the one that I consider to be most pivotal is that of regulation. We need an industry that is regulated.
Yeah. It's better for everybody.
Once we have that, investors are sure that their investment is secure and their guaranteed return on investment, boom, we begin to harness the potential of real estate in Nigeria. There's a lot. It's an emerging market. And it's one of the markets that Nigeria should be looking out for, because our present contribution to the national GDP is just like about 6% or thereabout. But this industry has the potential to contribute over 50% to the Nigerian GDP. Sir, about 78% of American wealth is derived from real estate industry.
Really?
And Nigeria, that is it. The wealth of America, about 78% of it is derived from real estate related businesses. So you can imagine, because everything is about real estate. The food we eat is on real estate.
Yeah, you're right.
The clothes we wear came from real estate produce. And Our houses, the industry, the hospitals, the police station, even the oil and gas in Nigeria is on real estate. The diamond, the precious stone is on real estate is a blessing from God.
Yeah.
If fully managed. I'll stop there, coach.
This is a serious masterclass. I love it.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So, okay, one of my favorite questions I always ask my guests is, okay, you have already answered that because I wanted to ask you, how did you close your first sale and how long did it take you?
Oh, yeah.
The reason is because, or you can use one of your staff that you employ, that you are proud of. Because the reason is because the people I ask that question is because a lot of times when people listen to podcasts like that and they see people winning, they think that it's only when they try that they sold. And there are different cycles for some people close their first sale in 6 months, in 3 months, in 4 months, in 1 month, in 3 days. How long did it take for you?
All right. Now, that's a very fantastic question. When I left Dalicom Market as an alabara, because I couldn't sustain it, because the amount I'm being given each time I carry a 50 kg of rice, I projected into the next 1 year the number of bag of rice I need to carry to be able to afford to buy a bicycle. So it was at that time I went back to the labor market and I stumbled on a real estate company and I requested if I could work for them as an agent or with them as an agent, and they allowed me to work. Now, I never knew it was a principle until when I started listening to someone like you. What I started with is what I called my immediate sphere of influence. So when I was given the privilege to market that project, I look at my sphere of influence, I look at my contact, and ask a question: who among my contacts have the potential, the capacity to buy? Who among them have this money to buy this product that is allowed to be paid on an installment? And a name dropped at me, Austin Osagi. Austin Osagi is an older friend that worked with British American Tobacco. I persuaded him. Maybe on a compassionate ground, he decided to subscribe to a plot of land and gave me his first check. Then when I was taking his receipt to him, a few days after he made the first purchase, I got to his office and I saw it was a workstation of about 8 people. And I whispered to him, do you mind I talk to your friend?
I like this guy.
And that's where the principle of referral comes in.
I like this man.
No, you need to listen to this side of the story. It started from Austin Osagi. I will never forget that man. So I said, do you mind I talk to your other friend? 7 of them. He said, why not? He introduced me to them. It was a workstation in his office. And I spoke with the 7 of them, and 6 of them embraced it immediately. I gave them the form because I went there prepared. I gave them the form and I took 6 checks. Only one person, I will not forget his name. His name is Mr. Diola Willoveby. He told me, Kunle, sorry, I would have loved to also subscribe right now, but I need to speak with my wife. But I'm an aggressive person. You know what I told Mr. Willoughby? You don't need to speak with your wife. I can go talk to her in her working place right now. Don't forget, I already have 6 plots. I have a check with me.
Oh my
from
goodness. I like this guy.
I jumped on bike from British American Tobacco in VI and I went straight to number 66 Aderonra Ogunsoya Surulere Skip Insurance Company. You know, there are some places you will not forget because they are part of
your story.
success.
Your story, yeah.
It was a white building on the right, number 66. Aderonra Ogunsoya. I jumped with a bike and I went there the same day. I met with the wife. I said, I'm just coming from your husband's place. All his colleagues are subscribed except him because he said you needed to give a consent. He was saying, how could he say that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I gave her the form. She gave me the check for the family. I bought another one. Guess what I did again? Ma'am, do you mind I speak to your colleagues? I couldn't talk to them that day, sir. She gave me a Friday to come back. They haven't thank God it's Friday. They said they'll be more relaxed. I spoke with them that day. I sold 27 plots.
This is my best episode so far, I'll tell you.
Right. I sold, so, I never knew these are principles. I never knew there are sales strategy. I was just doing my thing.
my
As a young boy that is tired of poverty. I was being given 10% each time I said 280. The land is good for 280,000. So when I sell a plot, I get 28,000.
Yeah.
No, look at me. I've sold 1 to Osage, sold 7 to his friend, sold 27 to Skip Insurance staffs. Osage resigned from British American Tobacco. I went to a bank in Nigeria, I don't want to mention, and I went to see him and I said, do you mind I speak to your colleague in this new place? And he took me to the HR director who said, can I come make presentation? And I went there, boom, I made my 3,000 sale.
You can imagine the worth of that property right now for those people that bought from you.
Oh my God. You don't want to go there.
The value of that land right now.
You don't want to go there.
Maybe they built
I
on
knew
it.
someone that sold a piece of a plot of land in that property about last year or two, and that he sold it, just a piece, sold it at about 30 million naira. Wow. And it's because it's on the back side of the Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
Yes.
From 280,000 installment payment plan, he sold at over 30 million. And he regretted not buying more. He only bought 2. Sir, the only real investment is real estate. Trust me. That's it.
That's why even now I negotiate.
It was when I started listening to someone like you that I realized that I was trading principles.
Yeah.
I never knew.
You were unconsciously conscious.
That starting from your known world, I mean, you will always have around you people that have the capacity to purchase, the purchasing power. That's why some of us need to invest more on our network. Because if you flip through your phone, flip through your emails, flip through your contact, and you don't have anyone who have the purchasing power to do some business with you at a certain level, then you need to reconsider investing in your network. Like you always tell, you want to that our network determine our net worth.
It's true. It's true.
That's a valid statement. So that's my little story.
This is so powerful, man. Yeah. I bought a property from someone, and the property is 30 million. He's a developer. He gave me that property for 18 million because of a relationship. Because of a relationship.
That's almost 50% discount.
I'm telling you, my first property, I have a tenant in that house. In fact, the rent is renewed in August. I bought the property. This is a very interesting story. I bought the property from a company. The company didn't know I was paying small to buy a property from them. They now invited me to do sales training for them. You know the company. The man loved my sales training so much, he kept me in his company for 2 years. He was paying me a retainer fee. That year, they did like 60 billion. It was from his retainer fee I used to clear up the balance for my
offset. Amazing. You see what I'm saying? Coach Paul, you see what I'm saying? You are playing a major role in our.
Yes, but I wished him happy birthday yesterday. He called me. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I need to mention there is a major knowledge gap in our industry. That people in your space need to help us fill it. Whether we like it or not, we all pay for our ignorance.
Come on, brother.
If I know what doctors know about my health, I won't have to pay the doctor. If I know what lawyer knows about legal related matters, I won't have to pay them. So the more I can bridge the gap of my ignorance, the lesser I pay life.
Oh, so powerful.
So what you are doing is to help us bridge the gap. For us developers, so we can make more money. For the retail, you don't have an idea. I don't know if you have that statistics of the number of people via your training, retailers, that you have changed their narrative.
No, a lot.
By getting cutting edge principle that you teach on daily basis that has changed their life. So you are a major contributor to this industry.
Wow.
So I give it to you, sir. On behalf of our association, we recognize you.
I was joking telling you, I said, you should give me an award. If not give me an award, this is our industry. Yeah. So, sir, you as a owner of a big company, conglomerate, as it were, you are a multinational because you are in more than one country. When you look at to employ people, first of all, I want to talk about the employment crisis we have in Nigeria right now. Getting talent there's a crisis.
Is a major crisis.
Yes, and the people who do well in sales in your company, what are some of the traits of a successful salesperson? You already have those traits, and when you look at it, what are those traits?
Yeah, because I place value on knowledge. I mean, massive value on knowledge. So we dish out knowledge on daily basis to our team on how, and there's been a lot of evolution in sales. I'm looking forward to someone who's going to take us through sales evolution, what it used to be in the 80s. Things have changed because a number of us are still living in the past.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me recently about a training coming up, which we have jumped on how you can leverage on AI for sales.
Yes.
So a lot. So for us here in this organization, we place emphasis on capacity building. You can't give what you don't have. So every opportunity that we can expose our staffs to knowledge that can enhance their capacity, we don't hesitate. But now, speaking to the major crisis we have when it comes to talent in Nigeria, is a major one. And it speaks to our value system. Our value system has been seriously eroded, sponsored by corruption. So the institution that should be producing talent has compromised. The value has been eroded in some of these learning institutions. The four walls of our universities, the polytechnic, the technical school, has been eroded. That's why you can see someone with distinction and cannot defend the distinction. Someone with a first class or a 2-1 and cannot defend the first class. I don't want to mention some profession, noble profession, that we also use in our industry. I've had issue hiring this noble profession that I even consider to be custodian of knowledge. I've not mentioned any name. Now, with respect to this profession, I've seen people from this profession that has graduated from the institution. And you say to yourself, how do you graduate? Because basic things I struggle with. You hire an accountant and you wonder, how do you graduate? So it speaks to our value system that has been eroded, sponsored by corruption. And another thing, sir, competence is a scarce commodity in Nigeria. Competence. When you succeed in getting someone that has some level of competence, then you have character to deal with. They can't be trusted. Zero integrity, zero value for accountability. And you agree with me that an employer will require an employee that has both competence and character for the company to thrive. Because it's a disaster when you hand over a company to someone that have cutting-edge competency and and he has zero character. The company is going down.
That's a
and
disaster.
If you have someone that has character and lack competence also, you are on ground zero. Your money will not go, but it will not grow.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a major challenge. And the brain drain issue of a lot of people migrating to the Western world is also a challenge. But you know what? I'm excited about the future, Coach, if you ask me.
Why?
You know why I'm excited about the future?
Why?
The future of real estate in Nigeria and Nigeria economy, I'm super excited about it because there is going to be a retraction. It's called Jabada.
Tell me about it.
In a couple of years, people in the Western world, it will get to a point. A lot of Western world are already saying people should stay back in their country. They want to own their thing. Blah, blah, blah. They are making entry difficult. And for those who are in there, the racist is also there. A whole lot of, so many things are going on. It will get to a point, and I've seen that already, particularly in the United States. About 50% of people in Nigerian community in the United States, particularly those who already have their papers, are willing to come back home. They just want to come back to a home where security is guaranteed. So this new set of these guys that have jackpot to United States, to United Kingdom, to Canada, and some other places, they are living in an ideal society where they see systems work. There will be a retraction, and they will demand, not require, they will demand that the system work here. And at that time, our government will have no other choice than to start doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because these people are not used to mediocrity. They are used to an health care that work. They are used to an infrastructure that work. They have an educational system where their kids attend school that works.
Yeah.
I mean, they have security that works. When they want to come back to their father's land, things have to work. At that time, the population of Nigeria would have been over 1.7 billion.
Yeah.
It comes with a concern and an excitement. The concern is what provision are we making to accommodate the coming population?
Guys, this episode is going really great, and I always talk about our sponsors. So this episode of the Powerful Podcast is sponsored by Sterling Homes. Dr. K, you give my check later.
So
if you want legit properties in Nigeria, in Kigali, in Rwanda, in Tanzania, I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Just reach out to them. I think we should create like a Google form where people can just put their phone numbers and their emails, and then the sales teams can follow up with them and see what we you want to buy property from this one.
If you are looking for an holiday getaway, like a vacation,
great,
in Tanzania, Zanzibar, and in Kigali, with your family, we've got luxury apartments with full option. I mean, to take care of you with a chef that will cook your, whatever you desire to have.
Great.
I mean, we have cover. And if you're looking at that also in Texas and in Atlanta, we also have a good cover.
Great.
I'll be moving to other parts of the United States pretty soon.
Great. So as we begin to think about wrapping up, Dr. K, this has been a very, I'm happy that I did this conversation. I am very, very happy. I've learned a lot. And I now see why you are successful. It's very obvious. And I'm happy that I know you at this point in your journey. Sometimes to reach out to you, it's not easy. All these big guys,
I know, right?
But I'm very persistent, and I'll keep trying. I'm sure when you see some of my messages, like, this guy, I'm tired of
you know, Coach. I'm learning so much.
It's like I'm testing this guy to see what I really believe what he's doing.
I'm learning a whole lot from you, Coach. I told my PA, I said, do you know, Dr. Paul is, if persistence is a person, that is Dr. That's
because then you just ignore me. I'll just keep
So it got to a time I couldn't but just talk to you. And each time I trained my staffs about the principle of persuasion and persistence, you are the best example.
Wow.
You remember our first relationship, how we met, when I first reached out to you, and eventually we did business. We did some businesses and we've not met.
Yeah.
I only saw you once.
Yes.
I mean, after we've done some couple of businesses.
I came from, I think, your mom's funeral as well, too.
Yeah, you were at my mom's funeral. Oh, that was the second time.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, thank you so much for showing up.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. Paul, I need you to know before we wrap up that our industry needs you. We need you to help, not just in sales, to help us propagate the principle of best practice.
Yes. Let me share something quickly with you, best practice. I'm sure it will bless somebody. Right. I've never said it before in my podcast. In the start of my career, I got an opportunity to do sales training for a government parastatal. Big one. And they bought a couple of thousands of copies of my book. That was my first 1 million. The check was meant to be 1,200,000 and something thousand naira. They gave me a check of 2 point something million. It was a mistake. The person in charge. So I called the person. I said, this check was a mistake.
A government official.
I'm telling you, the man was like, "Are you normal?"
Very good.
Do you know that because of that, they gave me more jobs? The guy was so impressed. And he has retired now.
Right.
He has retired. So I want everybody to listen. You know that these things are long term. No matter what you do,
Right.
Dr. Gabs, you can talk about character. You know, you may eat the money now, but in the long term, you suffer. If you're a
Absolutely.
developer watching us right now, use the best materials for your projects. You may
Right.
do the project now, but when the wahala starts, you will suffer. You will suffer because the
Right.
downside is unlimited.
You're right.
Yes, I think that's what I want to add to that. Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. So please, we love you to be our frontliners. I mean, because I know you are relating with a whole lot of developers and more are coming.
Yeah.
I mean, so that they also can embrace this standard practice.
Yes.
I mean, so that we can do things right.
Yes.
We can do things right.
Yes.
So we all can embrace the standard practice that will help Nigeria economy, because once we start doing it right and we are well regulated, we start attracting huge foreign direct
That's right.
investment.
That's right.
And that will have a serious impact on the industry and even take us out of the grey list. That's another discussion entirely. You know, the reason why Nigeria is on the grey list, a huge percentage for us being on the grey list is traceable to real estate transaction. Wow. We need to get out of that grey list so that we can be appealing and enticing to foreign investors. Sir, the real estate industry have the potential to make much more than oil and gas if fully harnessed. But one of the things we need to do is to start embracing global standard practice as developers, as realtors. I mean, say it as it is. Don't call a fish pond a swimming pool. Sorry, I just shake a table.
Thank you. Okay. I will stop the recording now and then we'll just a little bit. So guys, click on the subscribe button, share comments, take a screenshot, follow at Dr. Kunle Adeyemi. I'm going to put the Sterling Homes social media in the show notes. Click on it, follow, and I'm going to put in a link whereby you can show your interest in any of our properties in Sterling Homes. And the holiday is coming soon. Summer is coming. You may want to travel.
Absolutely.
So you want to check.
We've got you covered.
We've got you covered. I like that. So yeah, thank you, Dr. K. Just wait a little. I'll stop the recording and then we can now chat a little bit.